The Indonesian people are fed up with their quality of life and their leaders. But it's really China that's behind the problems. Welcome to China Uncensored, I'm Chris Chappell. So, things are pretty wild in Indonesia right now. But first, a quick word from today's sponsor, since they're a big part of why I can afford to even make this show. So there's a lot of talk in 2025 about AI taking people's jobs. And it's true. But at the same time, people who learn AI can make more money than they ever could before, often without even having a college degree. That's because these days, nearly every white-collar job today demands AI skills. And people who have AI skills have a much better chance of getting a job or starting a successful business than everyone else. And that's why I've partnered with Outskill, the world's first AI-focused education platform. This weekend, they're holding a 2-day AI mastermind workshop with 16 hours of training taught by expert mentors. During the 2-day live training, you'll learn 10 plus powerful AI tools, prompt engineering to get the best outputs from AI, and how to automate your workflows and build AI products without code. And when you attend, you'll get exclusive bonuses worth $5,100, including a prompt Bible with 3,000 plus high-impact prompts, a roadmap to make an extra $10,000 a month, and a personalized AI toolkit builder. Over 10 million people have attended this training across different industries, and now it's your turn. This training normally costs $895. But I've partnered with Outskill to give away 1,000 free seats exclusively for my viewers. So clear your weekend. The training is this Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. on both days. You will learn so much you can do with AI you wish you'd attended the last time I told you about it. So scan the QR code or click the link below. And now, welcome to Indonesia, a land of stunning natural beauty, breathtaking architecture, and currently, massive riots!
As well as the capital, protests have been held in Jawa Barat, Surakarta, Bandung, Lombok, and Medan. Troops have joined police on the streets, using tear gas and water cannons to disperse crowds. In Makassar, in South Sulawesi province, demonstrators set fire to a regional parliament building, killing several people.
It all started nearly a week ago when the Indonesian people heard that their lawmakers were getting a monthly housing allowance of over $3,000, which is almost 10 times the minimum wage in the capital. That's on top of their salary, which is already quite a bit more than the average Indonesian makes. You know, politicians should only make minimum wage, although that would probably lead to crazy inflation when they immediately pass a law that states minimum wage is now $400,000 an hour. This news was the straw that broke the camel's back. On top of rising costs of living and rising unemployment, budget cuts to social services, and legislation allowing military officers to take up government positions without retiring or resigning from the armed forces. It's like a military coup, but one that happened bureaucratically, which is just as alarming and way less cool. Police came to break up the protest. But when a delivery driver was hit by one of the police vehicles and later died, all hell broke loose, with protesters even flying the straw hat pirate flag from the manga and anime One Piece, which has become a symbol of revolution in the country. You know it's bad when One Piece gets involved. In fact, it got so bad, the president of Indonesia, Prabowo Subianto, pledged to revoke certain lawmakers' perks, including the housing allowance that got everything going in the first place. And he even had to cancel a trip to China while TikTok suspended live video in the country. Because that'll totally fix the situation. But it's fitting that Subianto had to cancel this trip to China, since China is responsible for some of the problems in Indonesia that led to the protests in the first place. It has huge influence in Indonesia. Indonesian politicians have been more than willing to promote Chinese ties and deals. In fact, China was the first country Subianto visited after he was elected last year. There have been a lot of deals between the two countries, especially when it comes to infrastructure development projects through China's Belt and Road Initiative, like Indonesia's high-speed rail. China's even playing a major role in the relocation of Indonesia's capital. And President Subianto is absolutely there for it. China, of course, claims that its Belt and Road Initiative is committed to open, green, and clean cooperation, has zero tolerance for corruption, and promotes steady and high-quality growth. But in truth, it's everything but that. And everyday Indonesians are paying for it, especially in the mining industry. According to the Center of Economics and Law Studies, or CELIOS, Chinese projects have been linked to widespread deforestation, coastal mangrove destruction, and significant water and soil contamination from smelter waste and tailings. So when China says these are green projects, they must mean the color your insides will turn if you drink any of the water in these areas. This is especially a problem in Indonesia's nickel mines. Indonesia has a lot of nickel mines, and I mean a lot, most of which belong to Chinese firms. They not only fuel China's EV industry, they also benefit from and encourage widespread corruption and drive land grabs. Who could have guessed that China would be involved in land grabs? According to the China Global South Project, nearly 30% of the nickel projects identified by the NGO involved corruption or illegal mining activity. The nickel mines do provide jobs for local people, but that's not all they get.
The water around his village is now harming marine life. And here's what's driving the pollution: open-pit nickel mines. Local says when it rains, sediment is washed into the sea, burying coral reefs that sustain fish and other marine life.
So when someone says something about these projects smells fishy, it's hard to tell if they're talking about the corruption, all the washed-up marine life corpses, or both.
It's not just an environmental problem. The waste also poses a health risk to anyone in contact with the contaminated water.
I felt it myself, the itching. My hands broke out in sores because of the water.
This guy's not alone. All sorts of people, from babies to the elderly, have reported getting these kinds of itches. And yet, many Indonesian locals, like those interviewed by DW, say they've never been warned about water contamination. In fact, DW reports that officials actively discourage sharing pollution data with locals and gave no alternative water supply. As one local resident said bluntly, they let us drink it knowing it's polluted. That means they are letting us die. What? No, they're not letting you die. They're actively killing you. Gotta use the active voice, not the passive one, when it's this egregious. That's your grammar lesson for the day. Chinese companies are rewarding the kind of policies that make Indonesians sicker and more vulnerable to landslides and floods. And the working conditions are abysmal. Workers keep dying at Chinese-owned nickel plants. While, according to CELIOS, both Indonesians and Chinese face unsafe working environments, excessive working hours, substandard housing, and frequent industrial accidents, as well as exploitative conditions. Or as these conditions are known in China, employment, and you're welcome for the job.
We obtained this footage taken by Chinese workers who raised concerns over conditions they face at nickel smelters. The workers told their lawyer they did not have proper safety gear to deal with hazards captured in the videos.
Mereka yang direndahkan diantaranya.
Among other things, their passports were withheld, they couldn't travel freely outside the region, and they had to work more than 12 hours almost every day.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you should have safety gear when working in a place that looks like it was built to destroy T-1000s. There are a lot of other ways that China ruins Indonesian lives, such as illegal gold mining, which the Chinese embassy won't help Indonesia crack down on, and illegal fishing, where Indonesian laborers face tons of abuse. Illegal gold and illegal fish. Combine those, and you have the most outside-of-the-law goldfish you've ever seen. There's also the rise in Chinese criminal activity in Indonesia, including bride trafficking, which is the worst type of traffic outside of child and rush hour. And China's expanding media influence in Indonesia, including TikTok, which for some strange reason has suspended live streaming following the protests. It's ironic people might need to pirate their news to see protesters that look like one-piece pirates. So when Indonesians protest because of the high cost of living, poor living conditions, and outrageous perks for the elites, they should also keep in mind that all of that is made possible by the Chinese Communist Party. Of course, the CCP hates that I bring this up, and apparently so does YouTube. So be sure to leave your comments below and share this video with everyone you know. And don't get left behind when everyone else is learning to use AI. Be one of the first 1,000 people to click below and book your slot for OutSkills AI training this weekend. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching.